Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Apple stock. This is a name that seemed to be always growing in 2020, but over the last few months, it has been in a massive consolidation period where investors have not been able to push this one back in the upwards direction. So really, as investors, we have to ask ourselves whether we should continue investing into this name or why not. And so stay tuned until the end of the video if you want to know some amazing insight into why you should or shouldn't buy Apple stock over the next few weeks, but especially into the second half of 2021. But first here, let's take a look at what a recent short seller had to say about Apple stock.
So again, to clarify, you're saying that iPhone 12 demand has been so good that for the next refresh in the fall, there's no way that it can compete or hit the numbers that the street is expecting. So let's play this out to how that turns Apple from $120-something stock into a $90 stock. I mean, it's one thing to sell less than expected, but why would that change Apple's valuation so dramatically?
I expect that number to come down, maximum at $200 million units, sorry, and even potentially a bit less than that. I see the downside risk down as much to 180 million. So if that happens, what happens? Everybody on Wall Street is going to adjust down their expectations for 2022. And, iPhone shipments being 15-20% below where expectations are today means earnings expectations for next year are going to be a good 10% below where they are today. Mm-hmm. And historically, what you see is that when that happens to Apple, it has like a temporary but very significant impact on the multiple on the stock. So if your earnings come down 10%, your stock price can come down 30% because your multiple is going to come down.
So what he's saying is that Apple might not reach its goal when it comes to iPhone sales this next year. And although this may not represent a massive shortfall in revenue in the long term, it could cause investors like himself and other hedge funds to lower their price targets and essentially force Apple to trade at a lower price. So in order to combat this, I want to show you guys the technical analysis for Apple stock and why I think we should expect a drop to around $100 a share over the next few days. Now, what you're looking at is the chart for Apple stock representing the price action that's been happening over the last few months, going back even all the way till August of 2020. And really, we've been trading this company from the lows of 109 all the way to the highs of 140 consistently, even the breakouts that have been happening. So this is one that we talk about very often on the channel. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it has been pretty much caught in this range for the last few months. And right now, investors are looking for an opportunity to either trade this one to the downside or to the upside over the next few days. So I want to talk about why there could be a lot of opportunity coming if we do see a break below this 124. So right now, I'm going to draw in a few lines on the chart that I want you guys to keep a very close eye out. And I'm going to explain why these patterns that have been happening in the past, showing us that Apple is going to be ripping to the upside, could be happening again here, but showing us to the downside. So this is something that we need to be very careful with on Apple stock. And ultimately, over the next few days, this is going to be something that Apple investors need to see. So with these new lines I've drawn on the chart, I want you guys to realize that Apple is not only consolidating sideways, but it is also consolidating in a wedge pattern. And really, this is going to be the key to unlocking what's going to be happening over the next few days. If Apple is able to stay up in this wedge and maybe find support around this 124, then that is going to be a great sign that we could be heading back in the upside. But really, the more realistic direction that I think Apple will be taking is a break to the downside like this, back down to $100 a share. And then once we're here down at this lower price, it will trade sideways, similar to how we've seen a lot of other stocks do before maybe making another run. But really, in the short term, I want to show you something on the smaller time frames that really is making me bearish and what is ultimately going to give me the confirmation of whether this stock is heading down below 124 all the way to 100 a share, or whether we might see new highs coming in a few months. Now, what you're looking at here is the daily trading time frame for Apple, and we can see the exact trading action that's been happening over the last 2 or 3 days. And this is going to give us a better idea of what to look at on a short time frame and what we can expect here with Apple stock coming over the next trading hours. But as you guys can see here, we are setting up a small wedge pattern on this smaller time frame, and this is going to be even the better key to what's going to be happening with that bigger pattern as we are so close to breaking down to the lower time frame. So ultimately, I recommend you guys to check out this wedge on your TradingView charts. And if this does break to the downside, then I'm going to be setting up for some puts in the long term, maybe even monthly puts here with Apple stock, looking to target that $100 a share range. And if this breaks to the upside, then I will be a lot more bullish over the next few days and looking to enter calls. But if you guys want to know exactly what I do over the next few days, make sure you check out my Discord in the link down in the description below. It's absolutely free to join. But as always, thanks so much for watching.